Hello students, let's start our next topic, laws of photoelectric effect, LAWS, laws of photoelectric effect. But before that, I want to just discuss about, in short, the previous session what we have seen regarding the graphs and all, because basing on these graphs alone, we are going to discuss about this laws of photoelectric effect here. Okay, so let's start from the first graph. So look here. When we plot a graph by maintaining frequency and nature of the cathode constant, by keeping them as constant, if we plot by taking intensity of the light along x-axis, intensity of light along x-axis and saturation photoelectric current along y-axis, which you can notice here, the line is a straight line passing through the origin. You can notice there. Isn't it or not? Right. Now, what is the result of this entire condition what we are actually discussing about? So, what that shows that the saturation photoelectric current is proportional to the intensity of the light. Is directly the saturation photoelectric current is proportional to intensity of light at that given frequency. Remember, for that given frequency, remember we made the frequency and nature of the cathode as constant. So it will be very easy for you to remember all these conditions. So that's why I am drawing the graphs again and again, even in this topic too. So now let's look at the second one, second graph. Keeping the frequency and nature of the cathode constant, which means the same situation, but now I have changed the quantities what I am going to take. I have taken photo current along the y-axis and anode potential what are actually applying, and that I have taken along x-axis. And now I am going to change the intensity of light. What happens when I change the intensity of light? Look here, when I change the intensity, respectively the maximum of saturation current value also will change, right? Because they are proportional. Even here also you can notice it. See, for that one intensity, saturation current is constant for see, slowly it is getting increased and becoming constant for that one particular intensity. So almost it remains constant. So that's what. For a different, I told you already in the yesterday's session too, we have to look this graph like two parts, the right hand side and as well as the left hand side. So for the right hand side, almost constant, became constant, saturation photoelectric current. Beyond that, even if you increase the potential, still for that intensity of the light, that's the maximum. So for three different intensities I have taken, you can notice here. Okay, I3 greater than, I2 greater than, I1. Now for each and every intensity of the light, I am going to discuss the another aspect. That means I am going to swap the potentials. Swap the potentials means the cathode and anode potentials, I am going to swap them. What happens in that case? The negative terminal, right? The collector is now having a negative terminal. Now I am increasing that negative potential, and that's what that negative potential is called, retarding potential. So for that intensity, or let's say suppose for one particular intensity I1, look here, when you reduce, see, slowly the current will keep on decreases. And I told you what was the reason, even when you are reducing a potential, still there will be a current because of the already existing charges. And finally, at a particular value of potential, finally it becomes zero. Still there is a potential. Applied potential is, this is what, right? And that's what we term it as stopping potential, Vs or V0, stopping potential. Are we clear with this? So current is zero at that retarding potential. Now for again for a different intensity, from maximum saturation current of some other value, again look here, it is getting reduced to zero. Again for the third, from the maximum current, see, again it is falling down and again reaching the same. So what we can infer from this, when frequency and nature of cathode are kept constant for different intensities, still the stopping potential value is same, which you can notice it as stopping potential is independent of intensity for given frequency. So until you change the frequency, there is no concept at all, there is no problem at all. So for the given fixed value of the frequency, even how you change the intensity, that's it, right? For three different intensities, still the stopping potential value is same. And one more point is saturation current depends on intensity. That's it, right? You can notice here. See, at y-axis there are 3 points where the maximum current is for 3 different intensities. Of course, from the first graph, this is what like I am representing. So saturation current depends on intensity, but stopping potential is independent of intensity. Are we clear with this? Right. Now let's look about the third one. Now here we are going to make intensity and nature of cathode constant. Intensity and nature of cathode constant. Now if you look at the graph, look here. Along y-axis I have taken photocurrent, and along x-axis I am taking the anode potential. Look here again, for different frequencies. Earlier, do you remember? We made the frequency constant. Frequency constant and for different intensities. Now this is intensity is constant. Now for different frequencies. We changed the frequency rate. So obviously look here. For different frequencies, there are different stopping potentials. Of course, nu1, nu2, nu3 are the 3 different frequencies in such a way that nu3 greater than, nu2 greater than nu1. Okay, but as intensity is constant, right? What happens to the saturation photocurrent? It will remains constant. Look at this from the first graph. Intensity is constant. For a certain value of intensity of the current, photoelectric current will be constant. So keeping that in mind, so as the intensity is constant here, obviously photocurrent will be constant even though the frequencies are changing. Did you notice that? So what we can infer from this? Frequency is directly proportional to stopping potential. Note here, out of all the 3 frequencies, nu3 is greater than nu2, which is greater than nu1. So nu3 is largest, and that's why stopping potential, third stopping potential is more than the remaining 2. So as frequency increases, stopping potential also increases. And whenever we speak about stopping potential, the kinetic energy at that stopping potential is nothing but the maximum kinetic energy, right? So hence we can also term this as maximum kinetic energy of photoelectrons depends on frequency. That's it, right? Proportionate. And nature of the metal, and that's obvious. For every different metals it will be different. And independent on intensity, because we made the intensity constant here, so it doesn't depend upon maximum kinetic energy. And one more point is saturation photocurrent, which is the current maximum current, doesn't depend on frequency. Did you notice that here? Even if you are changing, saturation current came to be same. Maximum value for all the 3 is same. Did you notice that? So saturation current doesn't depend on frequency. On what factor it depends upon? Intensity, right? And that what we made constant. So saturation current doesn't depend on frequency. Did you notice? Okay. Now let's look about the fourth graph, which is the last one. Let us consider that metal is constant, which means for a fixed metal. For a fixed metal, if you plot the graph for stopping potential versus frequency. Stopping potential versus frequency. Look here, this is for first metal. Look here, the first line denotes it is having some threshold frequency, and that of course nu0 is called nu01 is called threshold frequency of the first. What do you mean by the threshold frequency? The minimum frequency required in order to exhibit photoelectric effect, and that's what, right, we have already discussed. Below that threshold frequency we cannot notice any photoelectric effect, and beyond that the kinetic energy will vary from 0 to maximum. So that is what here it is. Look here, this nu01 is nothing but stopping potential for this first metal, and you can notice here stopping potential. Look here, I have taken 4 different specimens, or you can call 4 different metals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nature of the graph is same, which means their slope will be always same, but of course they are having different threshold frequencies, which clearly shows us that different metals will possess different threshold frequencies, and thus we can call that threshold frequency is the characteristic property of a metal, and at that threshold frequency kinetic energy of the photoelectrons is 0. That's it, no? From there alone the photoelectric effect will start, which means the flowing of the electrons will start. So at that frequency, what about the kinetic energy? Obviously it will be 0. Are you getting the point here? I made all that notes here. And above the threshold frequency, kinetic energy increases from 0 to max, and kinetic energy, maximum kinetic energy and stopping potential, Vs or V0, I told you already. Stopping potential or maximum kinetic energy increases with increasing frequency. Notice that stopping potential, whenever we speak about stopping potential, we are indirectly speaking about maximum kinetic energy. Yesterday also we have seen this. At that point, whatever the energy possessed by the free electrons is nothing but the maximum value. Thus, at stopping potential, electrons possess maximum kinetic energy. So, maximum kinetic energy and stopping potential increases with increasing frequency. Look here, as I am increasing that, look there, the value is keeping on increasing. But understand that their slopes are always same. Their slopes are always same. We have a detailed discussion about this at the next topic, so that we have to deal this graph again. Later we will understand this. Okay, in detail about this graph. So I think now we got a clear idea regarding all the first two 1, 2 and 3, 4 graphs. Okay, now let's go to the important topic, that is nothing but the actual content, laws of photoelectric emission. So basing on all these graphs whatever we are having now, photoelectric emission can be explained by making or by considering them to be as like in a format of laws, which means basing on each and every graph and result that has been formulated on that that photoelectric effect has been given in a proper notation. Let's look about that. For a given substance, there is a minimum value of frequency of incident light called threshold frequency, below which no photoelectric emission is possible. Howsoever, the intensity of incident light may be. So, whatever may be the intensity of the light, but the photoelectric effect will be always can be observed, provided if the frequency of the radiation is that minimum value, which means the threshold value whenever it crosses. So below that we cannot notice. So that's the first law. Coming to the second one, the number of photoelectrons emitted per second. What do you mean by that photoelectrons emitted per second? Photoelectric current, right? So that photoelectric current is directly proportional to intensity of incident light, provided the frequency is above the threshold frequency. So when once it crosses that, I is direct, saturation photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity of light. First graph, which is nothing but, okay, the maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectrons is independent to the intensity of incident light. So the maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectrons is independent of intensity of incident. What do you mean by this maximum kinetic energy? Stopping potential. That's it, right? Just now we have seen stopping potential is independent of intensity of incident light. We have already seen this, making the intensity to be constant there. Okay, right. Coming to the next one, the process of photoelectric emission is instantaneous. That is, as soon as the photon of suitable frequency falls on the substance, which means the metal, it emits photoelectrons. So there won't be any lag at all. Coming to the original context, the photoelectric effect is as instantaneous as like within a 10 to the power of within the nanoseconds itself, the electron will eject out of that particular metal plate, whatever we are actually considering. Are we clear with this? So there won't be any time lag between the emission of the electron, of course, as the illumination and as well as the time lag. So there won't be any time lag at all. Are we clear with this? Coming to the next one, the photoelectric emission is 1 to 1. That is, for every photon of suitable frequency, one electron is emitted. So for every photon, look here, for every photon, what do you mean by the photon? In the last class I told you, it's nothing but the energy packet or the minimum quantity of the energy in that particular light what we are actually taking there. Regarding that we have a discussion in the next topic. We will see this. So for every photon of suitable frequency, one electron is emitted. So for every particular kind of one photon of which is having a greater than the threshold frequency, that photoelectric emission will be like a 1 to 1. So for every photon there will be one electron. Are we getting the point here? So the time the time lag and all. So within the power of in the nanosecond itself it will be of 10 power minus 9 second, which is okay, the time lag relations and all. Are we clear with this? So these are the very important one, laws of photoelectric effect. So make a clear note of all this. Okay.